It's a Friday, the 22nd of August 2025. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. My name is Francisca Msheche. Let's take a look at your top stories making the headlines tonight. President Mnangagwa has left Tokyo after a successful 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development. We review Zimbabwe's participation at the conference and how the country can leverage emerging opportunities to further strengthen global ties. Newsplus looks at how stakeholders in the retail sector are moving to use smartphone technology to detect counterfeit products. Our news crew visited the Glen View Area 8 complex in the aftermath of the recent fire, which left traders counting losses. We spoke to one of the traders who has operated at the complex since 2006 and has witnessed every fire incident recorded there. And in sport, Newsplus previews Kaza Premier Soccer League matches lined up for this weekend, with returning Boso coach relishing a second dance with the Bulawayo Giants. And now in news in great detail, Zimbabwe this week wrapped up its participation at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 9, where President Emmerson Mnangagwa joined fellow heads of state in deepening Africa-Japan cooperation under the theme, Co-creating Africa's Brighter Future. In the following story, we give you highlights from Zimbabwe's participation at the international conference.
The 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, or just TICAD 9, offered Zimbabwe an important stage to push for investment, strengthen diplomatic ties with Japan and multilateral partners. It was an eventful week of diplomacy, dialogue and deal-making, with agriculture, innovation and peace-building firmly on the agenda. Government says the outcomes will feed directly into Zimbabwe's development drive back home. At the conference, President Mnangagwa underscored Zimbabwe's reform agenda and called for mutually beneficial partnerships that unlock Africa's potential.
The global shift to green energy must see Africa leverage our abundant critical minerals to fully participate in energy value chains. To achieve this, we look forward to synergies with Japanese companies and other investors, while also fostering technology and skills transfer.
On the sidelines, the president held high-level engagements with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, UNDP Acting Administrator Haoliang Tu, and World Food Programme Executive Director Cindy McCain, advancing cooperation in trade, technology, agriculture, and infrastructure. The meetings also yielded agreements to scale up support for food security, sustainable development programs, and infrastructure investment. Zimbabwe further sought Japan's backing for its bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council.
We're happy to have met again after some time. The relations between Zimbabwe and Japan continue to strengthen, and this incident also confirms the warmth of relations between Zimbabwe and Japan.
Finance Minister Professor Mutuli Ncube highlighted Zimbabwe's stabilization reforms, stressing that TICAD offered a platform to showcase progress on economic resilience and investment opportunities.
The representation from the UN Secretary General's office, the World Bank, among others. So really this is a big story. It really dovetails with what we are trying to do in Zimbabwe, which is to develop our NDS 2, our National Development Strategy 2, which focuses on various development areas, and all those areas are being talked about here.
Zimbabwe's agricultural transformation also caught the attention of the World Food Programme, which is considering establishing the country as a regional food hub, leveraging local production and logistics capacity. Beyond food security, the country's engagements reflected wider recognition of its growing role in regional stability, innovation, and international cooperation, with development partners aligning to Zimbabwe's vision under the Second Republic.
UNDP was talking about supporting Zimbabwe's devolution, and the issue of the national spatial data infrastructure for effective planning, national planning. And when the UNDP came with this issue of startups and the innovation ecosystems, it resonated very well with a strategy that His Excellency already adopted about 8 years ago in terms of innovation and as a catalyst for industrialization.
As TICAD 9 concluded, Zimbabwe cemented its presence on the international stage, projecting itself as a partner for peace, trade, and innovation. The president returns home with new commitments that position the nation at the stage of regional and global cooperation.
Acting President Kembo Mohadi today handed over cancer equipment to Mpilo Central Hospital in Bulawayo. The equipment is being donated by Dr. Mary Nyakabau, an oncologist. Cancer equipment has been the missing link in the country's efforts to detect and treat patients who have been seeking treatment beyond borders. Our correspondent Andile Chuma has the details.
Acting President Kembo Mohadi has pledged government's full support in the fight against cancer. He made this pledge today as he handed over specialized chemotherapy chairs to Mpilo Central Hospital in Bulawayo this morning. The chairs, donated through fundraising efforts by oncologist Dr. Mary Nyakabau's organization Cancer Save, are expected to bring comfort to patients who often endure hours-long chemotherapy sessions. The acting president said these facilities are at the forefront of cancer treatment in Zimbabwe, adding that this donation will go a long way in increasing comfort for patients during treatment.
You have demonstrated that the fight against cancer is not the responsibility of one institution alone, but a collective national effort. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's handover is more than a donation of medical equipment. It is a symbol of hope for patients and families facing the challenges of cancer, which has become so rampant in Zimbabwe now.
Acting President Mohadi also pledged an additional 20 chemotherapy chairs to complement the donation, with 10 going to Mpilo and the other 10 to Parianto Hospital in Harare.
It is a reminder that when we work together, government, private sector, educational institutions, and civil society, we can make meaningful strides in improving the quality of the health care for all Zimbabweans. As government, we remain committed to strengthening our health care infrastructure, expanding cancer treatment services, and supporting initiatives that place patients at the center of care.
The Minister of State for Bulawayo, Judith Ncube, said the guest chair is a relief as Mpilo has been using ordinary chairs for years. She noted the hospital serves patients from across Matabeleland, Midlands and Masvingo provinces. The donor said this was more than a donation of chairs, but the realization of a dream, as every small steps bring the nation closer to a brighter future for those with cancer. Health Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshura commended Dr. Nyakabau's efforts while outlining government's plans to decentralize cancer screening services to provincial hospitals, improve equipment maintenance, and introduce a national health insurance scheme by 2026.
The tenders that were done in the past, they only concentrated on procuring the equipment to treat, but there was no service agreement. Right now, Honorable Acting President, we have said in the procurement that we've done, we have included a service agreement so that we don't have the headache of trying to get somebody to come and repair our equipment. Yes, so that is being done to make sure we don't have challenges in terms of maintenance of our equipment. We are bringing in new state-of-the-art equipment to replace the old equipment that is here.
Mpilo Central Hospital, which is the country's other center besides Parianto Group of Hospitals in Harare, which offers treatment for cancer patients, has been facing a shortage in vital equipment. The government introduced the sugar tax to ensure that the Ministry of Health and Childcare secures the critical equipment. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Zimbabwe's cotton industry revival quest is set for a revival following government's engagement with leading global fabric producers in India. Vice President Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, who is in India, held discussions this afternoon with renowned fabric producers Iswira dyeing mills for collaboration in the sector. The company specializes in cotton value addition, transforming raw cotton into high-quality textiles, and is a major player in India's renowned textiles industry. The discussions signal a renewed hope for Zimbabwe's cotton industry, which was once referred to as white gold, but of late has faced serious viability challenges, mainly due to lack of value addition. Still on diplomatic matters, Zimbabwe and Zambia continue to enjoy excellent relations, which date back to the days of Harare's liberation struggle, when many nationalists were accommodated at various camps in the northern neighbor. The relations have continued to this day under President Hakainde Hichilema, with youth leagues and the top leadership of ruling party ZANU-PF and the United Party for National Development crossing the border to exchange notes on various issues. This came out in a wide-ranging interview with Zimbabwe's ambassador to Zambia, Charity Charamba, who emphasized the historical significance of relations between the two sister republics.
Our relations between Zimbabwe and Zambia date back to time immemorial. We normally talk about the time when we one country. But beyond that, we can trace back to see that there were people from Zimbabwe who came to Zambia. But over the years, as I relate, over the years, we have always enjoyed excellent relations with Zambia. You cannot differentiate when you see a Zambian. When you see a Zimbabwean, you cannot differentiate between the two. We are actually the same. We can say we are separated by the Zambezi River, but actually we are connected.
In the following story, we speak to Clemens, one of the people who were affected by the recurrent Glen View Area 8 complex fires. He has been at this complex when it opened in 2006. And since the fires began in 2012, he has lived through every one of them. Our reporter Faith Nyaude tells the story of master craftsman Clemens Madanire.
At 50, Clemens Madanire is a master craftsman. Many young carpenters in Glen View Area 8 have passed through his mentorship. But his proudest work has also been his greatest loss. Since the first inferno years ago, every fire here has affected him in different ways.
Ndakanga ndapuwa basa nechimwe chikoro private school iri ku Highfields. Yakanga yanipa almost 400 madesk, kadesk neche, kadesk neche. Inini ndakanga ndava almost complete the job, ndawa almost 95%. Because ndasara ne 50 ma chairs, ne 50 ma tables, 350 to my small table, ne 350 ma chairs ndakanga ndapedza kugadzira. So zvese zvakatsva.
2014 brought the biggest blaze the complex had ever seen. In 2017, he lost again. And just last week, flames consumed his machines, worth thousands of United States dollars. He's now left with nothing to his name but his craft.
Almost 1.2 to 1.5 that I shandis. No machine agacha. Was in danger in the furniture kuno. Machine in there spray. Imagine there kucheka. Saka name mfano wangu ainga achidi achicheka tichwana okamari papa. Saka sofa saka tombo mira.
The resilience here at Glen View Area 8 is remarkable. But with the endless cycles of fires going over and over again, this might just prove to be a problem unless it is addressed and fixed.
And that cycle is something even the complex management acknowledges.
It's very unfortunate, because after we experience such fires, definitely no one will be able to cope up and start to do business properly. Some would travel back to their rural homes and maybe selling some cattle, and come back to restart the business because of these fires.
To make it worse, Complex Managing Chairperson Tawanda Utete made some startling revelations. More than 2,000 traders rely on a single toilet.
Glen View, we were having only one functional toilet.
The Department of Civil Protection officials says hazards are everywhere. Piles of food shavings, knee-high, flammable chemicals make the place vulnerable.
Besides the thinners and other things which they use, there are naked live wires there. There are the what do you call shavings? The shavings, they are also there, and they don't even try to remove all those shavings.
Some of the traders believe the fires are spiritual. They are caused by marine spirits and even goblins. For now, some Glen View Area 8 traders are counting their losses. Others who are brave enough have started picking up the pieces. While for others, they are still wondering what hit them. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Faith Nyaude, in the capital, Harare.
Counterfeit products continue to pose significant challenges for consumers, businesses and regulatory authorities in Zimbabwe. This was the focus of the Consumer Affairs and Anti-Counterfeit Measures workshop held in Harare today, where key stakeholders convened to explore strategic interventions to combat counterfeit products. We get more from the following report.
The proliferation of counterfeit products has been identified as a multi-dimensional threat, impacting public health, causing substantial economic losses, and undermining national security. Globally, counterfeit trade is estimated to cost between 1.7 trillion and 4.5 trillion United States dollars annually, depriving governments of critical revenue streams as illicit goods often enter markets through smuggling and are sold without proper regulation. While the issue is often associated with counterfeit food items, authorities emphasize that the problem extends across multiple sectors. Alarmingly, some counterfeit products are being produced locally. The Zimbabwe Republic Police has uncovered numerous underground operations, including illicit breweries producing unregulated consumables.
The issue of fake backplates which are circulating, you take for example the issue of fake brake fluid, and in the process when we have accidents, people they cry foul, yet it is being caused by fake brake pads. Then you also have the issue of fake medicines, where at the end of the day the safety, security and health of Zimbabweans is affected.
Concerns have also been raised regarding the role of informal retailers such as tuck shops in selling counterfeit products. Tuck Shop Association Chairman Chamunor Wamukova argues that reducing bureaucratic red tape will be essential to ensuring accountability within the retail sector.
Atirambe kuti kuma tuck shop kuri kuwanikwa kuine ma counterfeit goods. Enge tiri ipapo toda kuyambira nekukurudzira vema tuck shops kuti vatenge nekuhodha ma products avo kuma reputable companies. Pakava nema atingati ma middlemen atizoziva kuti chinhu chaari kunditengesera genuine product here kana kuti counterfeit. Saka ndo rimwe dambudziko iroro rekuti pari kuzoita ma middlemen pakati pedu isusu nemakambani.
In response to the growing crisis, the Consumer Council of Zimbabwe (CCZ) is developing a digital platform aimed at empowering consumers to verify product authenticity using mobile phones.
The consumer will be able to use their phone to scan a product to see whether it is a counterfeit or it is a genuine product.
The platform, which has been in pilot phase since March, is expected to be officially launched before the end of 2025 in partnership with local manufacturers.
So what the consumer simply does is, with their phone, they can scan the product and either using WhatsApp or the QR code, And it just shows you, it takes you right to the factory where you can see that indeed this product is genuine.
Stakeholders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening anti-counterfeit measures through collaborative efforts, technological innovation, and enhanced regulatory enforcement, all aimed at safeguarding consumers and creating a fair, transparent marketplace. Tafaras Bachiwe for ZTN Prime.
When we come back, we take a look at the move of the authorities to keep borders closed for grain imports. Stay tuned.
The Rural Electrification Fund, REF, is inviting bids from reputable bidders for the following tenders. The site visit for design, supply, construction and commissioning of a 5-megawatt solar plant in Banket tender shall be as follows. Banket project site, 29 August 2025 at 11 a.m. Bidding documents are available on the electronic government procurement system egp.pras.org.zw. Bid submission shall also be done on the EGP system not later than the dates and times stated above. Rural Electrification Fund, Magetsi kumusha, amagetsi ekaya.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Newsplus. Authorities say borders will remain closed for grain imports, a move aimed at protecting local farmers following good harvest in the 2024 to 2025 farming season. This was said by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Professor Obedjiri, during a tour of a Grain Marketing Board GMB facilities in Aspendale this Friday. Professor Jiri said there has been increased deliveries at GMB and they are anticipating more deliveries if further payments are made to the farmers.
Even last year up to May, when we stopped, we were importing maize. I remember we had the El Nino-induced drought, which caused us to have less than 600,000 metric tons production for our maize. So we then opened the borders then, which we closed to protect our farmers for this season that we just ended. So as our local farmers still have maize, we don't open the borders. We only open the borders for maize grain once we have exhausted our local production, so that our farmers have the local market where they can sell their produce.
Meanwhile, Professor Jiri said preparations for the 2025 to 2026 farming season are already underway, with inputs under the Presidential Farming Scheme now being distributed.
So at the moment we have closed the borders, so no grain is being imported on the government, in the private sector. Of course, we have remnants of some imports which are really very small, but by and large we are not allowing any maize grain to come into the country to protect our farmers.
The body of the late businessman Joseph Mutangadura arrived at his home at Lishen Estate this evening, where it will spend the night before burial tomorrow at Koromonzi Tenov Cemetery. It was an emotional moment when a convoy of cars entered the premises. Mutangadura, who was described by many as a father figure, could not hesitate to assist the needy, was reportedly murdered at his house at Lishen Estate on Sunday night during an alleged armed robbery incident. The local community described his passing as a great loss. ICT-related initiatives have proven to be impactful for the disabled community around Zimbabwe. 584 students have graduated in the basic computer skills program that was rolled out by Porters in 2024. The program birthed the advanced digital training, which has seen 34 graduated under initiative earlier today in Bulawayo. Kaza has more.
Transformation and innovation. This aptly describes initiatives being driven by the telecoms regulator, Porters, with focus on providing digital skills to people with disabilities. In line with promoting digital inclusion, the authority has commenced Advanced Digital Learning Program, which is aimed at providing advanced computer skills to the disadvantaged. This comes at a time the country is working on introducing AI and robotics as a compulsory subject in learning institutions.
This training has covered 3 provinces. It has covered Bulawayo, Matabeleland South, and Matabeleland North. And it is that advanced training for digital skills. We decided to embark on the advanced digital skills training because of the feedback we got from your trainers, to say that we have got some that are ripe to migrate to advanced digital skills training.
At the helm of the regulatory authority is a man who once himself lived with a disability, Dr. Gift Machengete. For 7 years, he was blind, an experience that has played a role in the organization's commitment to inclusivity.
We have a captain or champion of the institution, who is our Director General, Dr. Machengete, who has lived with some disabilities. He was blind. So each time we are conversing with him or discussing with him or submitting our request for us to undertake these initiatives, we don't face any hurdle.
Gyrus Jury and Council of Disabled Persons are some of the stakeholders who graced the colorful ceremony. They believe the training programs are integral in equipping learners with digital competences essential in an increasingly tech world.
They were being trained on ICT advanced skills, which really will change their perception, the perceptions of the society out there when it comes to persons with disabilities. Persons with disabilities are not a charity case. That's why we are moving from a charity model to a more human rights-based approach that seeks to empower persons with disabilities.
Beneficiaries hailed the authority for its efforts in not leaving anyone behind. After this Bulawayo edition, Porters say this program will be spread to cover the remaining provinces. For ZTM Prime, I am Zimbabwe-Zambia in Bulawayo.
The family of the late former presidential photographer Bester Kanyama has announced plans to establish a museum as part of preserving his legacy, which spans over 70 years. Kanyama, who served under the late former president Robert Mugabe for 9 years from independence, has been described as a doyen and grandmaster of photography in Zimbabwe. He died at the age of 93 and will be buried on Saturday at his farm in Chitomborizi. He is survived by his wife, son and grandchildren.
With his lenses, he froze time, capturing fleeting, decisive moments into one single frame. With his pictures, he told stories of a million words. His career spans over 70 years after receiving his first camera in 1947. He worked as a press, social and studio photographer, establishing his studio in Highfield in the 1970s. He is a recipient of a multitude of awards, including World Press Photo 1965, among others.
His collection of photographs, negatives, and someday I'm hoping to do something about it. I want to build a museum for him, Kufam. I've started the process. Then we want to pull out some of these great works. I mean, Vaitama displays, art gallery and so on. But I think his work needs to be seen and appreciated.
In 1970, he wrote an instructional book of photography entitled Kutora Mifananidzo, published in Shona. Presidential photographer Joseph Nyadzaya described him as a godfather and doyen of photography industry.
So they set the pace for us. I'm way junior to him. In fact, I never worked with him because he's so much of an elder. I became the presidential photographer after Rashinamo, who is his contemporary, had retired. So I can say most of the things we started doing, we had learned from them. And his works, I think, deserve preservation. We must really look at his works and see how we can preserve all the stuff he produced.
National Art Gallery Executive Director Raphael Kuchukokwa said Kanyama's legacy deserves significant recognition in a unique way.
Saka ndonhorondo yaningati inini takuchikumbira kumhuri kuti chishuwa chatange tiinacho chiya chekuti tive tine mutambo wa baba Bester Kanyama. Vane mifananidzo yavakatora makarekare yavainayo inova muarchive mavo. Chishuwo ichocho chingave chishuwo chekuti tive nekurangarira nhoroondo nemabasa ephotography.
His granddaughter Kudzai fondly remembers the days she spent with him in his studio.
He was an amazing man. He used to enjoy talking about his trips overseas when he worked for the government and on his travels with the former president Mugabe. Even that was something to look forward to because he was so worldly, so well traveled, and it just made you want to also see the world because of his experiences that he shared. So I'll remember him for his creative process here in the studio, his travels.
Kanyama was President's first photographer for almost a decade. This was his first camera. He is a doyen, a grandmaster, a godfather of photography. His career spans to over 70 years. This is what we call legacy. At 93, he breathed his last, leaving a legacy that is difficult to fill. Reporting for ZTN, I'm Latwo Nyangu in Southampton.
May his soul rest in peace. Moving on with our stories, Zimbabwe has formally assumed the chairmanship of the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, Kaza, from the Republic of Zambia, with commitment to further advancing the ideals of the regional body. The handover of the pivotal coordination role was conducted at the 5th Kaza Ministerial Committee meeting in Livingstone, Zambia. The Kaza is an ambitious initiative spanning 5 southern African nations that include Angola, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia and Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe takes the reins for the next 2 years, committed to building upon the substantial progress achieved under Zambia's leadership.
Well, we are taking over coordinatorship over the next 2 years. And Zimbabwe is really a leader in this area. You may recall that in May this year, His Excellency President Idi Mnangagwa hosted the SADC heads of state to celebrate 25 years of transfrontier conservation. And we are taking over from Zambia and we'll be coordinating over the next 2 years. This is very important because not only will we be able to follow through on the outcome of the May summit, which was hosted by President Idi Mnangagwa, but also the outcomes of the Kaza summit, which was held here in Livingstone in 2024.
When we come back, we take a look at the stories from around the world.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth. This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
The Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Primary and Secondary Education will be holding public hearings on the ZIMSEC Amendment Bill HB 4 2025 from 25 to 29 August 2025. Teams, dates, venues and times for the public hearings are as follows. On military uniforms, signs of ranks, flags or badges, and political party regalia will not have access to the public hearings. The public, interested groups and organizations are invited to attend these consultations. Written submissions and correspondences are welcome and should be addressed to the Clerk of Parliament. Attention, Portfolio Committee on Primary and Secondary Education, Mount Hampton, PO Box CY 298 Causeway, Harare. Submissions can also be made by email through email address clerk@palzim.gov.zw. For more information, call 00263 868 8007715. Marunga Pencil, Committee Clerk, Extension 1480. Giovanna Cecilia, Public Relations Officer, Extension 1195. Hua Ellen, Public Relations Officer, Extension 1193. Parliament of Zimbabwe, a strong, independent, people-driven, world-class parliament. A SARS ISO 9001-2015 certified organization.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In news from around the world, Sudan's army has denied bombing a World Food Programme WFP a convoy taking aid to a famine-hit area in the country's Darfur region. The paramilitary Rapid Support Forces had blamed the army for Wednesday's airstrike in the town of Melit, which is under RSF control. A UN agency said a drone hit the convoy and 3 lorries in the 16-vehicle convoy caught fire and were destroyed. All staff traveling in the convoy were safe, it added. Moving on with our stories, Venezuela's National Assembly on Wednesday approved a bill reaffirming the Latin American country's territorial integrity, sovereignty and independence amid latest threats from Washington. Presented by Deputy Tania Diaz at a special session, the document reiterated opposition to all forms of external threats or interference and U.S. attempts to undermine peace, order and people's well-being in Venezuela. This came in response to reports that the United States is deploying troops to the Caribbean and has raised the bounty for the arrest of Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro.
La vida plena y en paz, la defensa de la paz de nuestro país y de nuestras hijas y nuestros hijos es más importante que la militancia política. Que esta asamblea convoque a la unidad nacional, a la unión nacional de todas y de todos, con una sola frase: déjennos en paz.
Russia claimed on Thursday that its forces had taken control of an important settlement in Donetsk region over the past day, while Ukraine reported on the same day that it had regained control over most of Toversk in Donetsk and hit Russian targets, including an oil refinery. Russia's Ministry of Defense said in its latest briefing that over the past 24 hours, its forces had captured the settlement of Alexandro Shultino in the Donetsk region. Moving on with our stories, a Chinese envoy to the United Nations on Thursday called for concerted effort among all parties in Syria to maintain stability and avoid new conflicts, while emphasizing the necessity to combat the increasingly active terrorist activities in the country. Speaking at a Security Council meeting on Syria's political and humanitarian issues, China's permanent representative to the UN, Fu Kong, said that China supports Syria in advancing an inclusive political transition process.
对恐怖分子继续姑息纵容，只会给叙利亚和地区其他国家带来更大的危害。我们敦促叙利亚临时当局采取有力措施，坚决打击包括东伊运及 突厥斯坦伊斯兰党在内的所有被安理会列明的恐怖组织。必须指出，安理会实施涉序制裁措施，目的是打击继续恐怖势力。
Join us after these messages.
Got some questions about Showmax? Well, we've got the answers. What is Showmax? Showmax is not a TV channel. It's a streaming service with tons of hit series, movies, and more. Plus, Premier League live on mobile. Just pick what you want and hit play. No shuttle or airing times. With Showmax, you watch what you want, when you want, and where you want. For any other queries, find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, or TikTok.
In business news, CBZ Holdings, the second largest financial institution in Zimbabwe by market capitalization, grew its profit by nearly 10% to $32 million in the 6 months to June 30, 2025. The group's financials presented in both Zimbabwe gold and United States dollars show strong top-line performance, with non-funded income making up 66% of total revenue.
The fourth largest counter on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange by market cap, CBZ Holdings grew its profit by nearly 10% to $32 million in the 6 months to June 30, 2025. The growth was anchored by solid top-line performance and effective cost management. In line with market trends, non-funded income dominated revenues, accounting for 66% of the group's aggregate earnings. Operating expenses were contained at 1.59 billion ZiG, with cost optimization measures keeping the cost-to-income ratio at 55.6%. At the group's analyst briefing, the financials were presented in both ZiGs and United States dollars.
That we've got deposits of $1 billion across the group, and our intention is to have at least 50% loans to deposit ratio. What that tells me is there is 150 million growth of loans.
In ZiG terms, the deposits stood at 26 billion, while cash and bank balances stood at 9.59 billion ZiG. The balance sheet remained strong, closing at 38 billion ZiG. To further support the productive sectors of the economy, CBZ says it is exploring the flotation of a $50 million bond targeting the growth of the productive sectors of the economy.
With regards to the CBZ bond, we are looking at raising 50 million. The background is in 2012, we raised 70 million. The intention was to raise 50. The demand was overwhelming. We went as high as 70. We believe we can do it again.
The board also declared an interim dividend of $2.5 million, adding to the $10 million paid out last year. Looking forward, CBZ remains bullish with plans to expand the group's offering into South Africa and Botswana.
For South Africa, we're likely going to pump in about $1 billion. What we don't want to do is to go in thinly capitalized, especially in an environment that we do not know or we have not been before. Botswana also, their requirements is $400,000.
With solid earnings growth, expanding deposits, and new initiatives including a proposed bond issue, CBZ Holdings has reaffirmed its position as one of Zimbabwe's most influential financial services groups. The market now looks to how the group would deliver on its loan growth and capitalization strategy in the months ahead. Iben Mabunda for ZTN Prime.
His Royal Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Yabo bin Yassim Al Thani, a distinguished member of the ruling family of the state of Qatar, arrived at the Victoria Falls International Airport this Friday to formalize partnerships and initiate key bilateral investment agreements worth more than $19 billion across priority national sectors. The high-powered delegation was welcomed by Matabeleland North Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Richard Moyo, marking the beginning of a three-day visit. Minister Moyo says this marks a milestone in advancing diplomatic, economic and strategic cooperation between the two countries. Moving on with our business stories, authorities in Shanghai on Thursday announced a series of new measures to build the Lingang New Area, one of China's 21 free trade zones, into a high-tech innovation hub with globally competitive entrepreneurship. The new measures cover 8 services such as network access, financing and overseas expansion support. The target 8 key emerging industries include core technology sectors, data processing and cross-border healthcare.
现在国家也提出来，叫产业创新和科技创新要融合，科研社区就是这样的一种方式，就是在这个社区里边，它包括了科研机构，包括了龙头企业，包括了我们园区的载体，形成一个非常完整的一个这个创业生态体系。
A standby for entertainment news up next.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth. This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Do you want to showcase your products and services this Zimbabwe agricultural show season and beyond? Or you're looking to hire a PA system, LED screens, studio, green screen studio, or a voice booth? Then ZTN Prime is your go-to place. For more information, contact Gertrude Chimunya on 0772 971 086 or Tony G on 0779 608 590 or Murungweni Vito on 0773 437 926. ZTN Prime, get the picture.
It's yet another Friday. Now let's see how the showbiz is warming up to this summer's eve with a look at the entertainment event lined up for the weekend. Alec Macheso will headline the all-female movement dubbed Duke and Slay at Gweru Sports Club this Sunday. The Sungura Ace will share the stage with Travelers Band, which hails from the Midlands province. Attendees are encouraged to dress in a replica jersey of their favorite sports team. Rapper XQ solidifies his connection with Zimbabweans in the United Kingdom by launching his album at the Hangar in Wolverhampton. He will share the stage with Awakiwe, Nati O, Master H, Dalroy, Trevor D, and South African Amapiano Prince and more. Dendera frontman Sulman Chimbete will be in action at Position Bar and Grill in Avondale tonight, backed by the superb orchestra Dendera King. The camp has promised fireworks. Afrofusion crooner Andy Murizo will be launching his latest album titled Chakanyuka at Liquid Lounge in Shamva this Sunday. It will be a celebration of 10 tracks, 10 band members and 10 memories at this show. He will be supported by Diana Mangwenya Samkange, Peter Moyo, Ndunge Youth, Chintal and Apama Styles. It's surely going to be a jam-packed weekend. Now stand by for sports news up next.
Do you want to showcase your products and services this Zimbabwe agricultural show season and beyond? Or you're looking to hire a PA system, LED screens, studio, green screen studio, or a voice booth? Then ZTN Prime is your go-to place. For more information, contact Gertrude Chimunya on 0772 971 086 or Tony G on 0779 608 590 or Murungweni Vito on 0773 437 926. ZTN Prime, get the picture.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Do you want to showcase your products and services this Zimbabwe agricultural show season and beyond? Or you're looking to hire a PA system, LED screens, studio, green screen studio, or a voice booth? Then ZTN Prime is your go-to place. For more information, contact Gertrude Chimunya on 0772 971 086 or Tony G on 0779 608 590 or Murungweni Vito on 0773 437 926. ZTN Prime, get the picture.
And sports news, Dynamo's head coach is optimistic that the side will continue with their current form and possibly survive the chop with only 9 rounds of matches left. Kaindu is delighted by how the side has managed to find its scoring tough, as they have scored 5 goals in their last 4 games, 1 less than what they did in 22 games before his appointment.
I think it gives us a lot of confidence. If you look at the past games, in 22 games we had scored 6 goals. In the last 4 games we have managed to score 5 goals. It shows on the graph that we have improved tremendously. For us to score also 3 goals away from home, it shows that on the graph we are improving. With the 3 goals, I think we could have scored another 3 goals from the other chances that we have, but we cannot talk about the chances that we did not convert. But the ratio of us scoring 3 goals in a game, it shows that we are improving. So even in our session we're still working on finishing, and we just hope that we keep on getting better and better. Our goal difference is very pathetic. When it comes to the tie, I don't think there's any team that we can beat because of the goal difference. We have to push in terms of goal difference. We need to keep our clean sheet like in the last game, and we just hope that God is going to be on our side again and probably grant us that victory.
Kaindu called on the club fans to come in their numbers as they will play off their remaining 9 games in the capital.
I think there are a lot of advantages. We are not going to be traveling. We'll spend most of the time within Harare. The fans have started coming. I'm sure they will probably rally behind the team and give us the maximum support. The challenge is maybe the field is not in a very good condition for us to play all those games, but we want to maintain the record and probably keep the momentum that we are playing at home. What can help you to build and pick up maximum points is the ability to convert or probably pick the points when you are playing at home. Like I said earlier on, we have done well in the last 3 games that we have played away from home. We come back at home. We hope we keep that momentum. We keep the crowd coming. We keep the 12th player also supporting us in terms of playing at home.
Newly appointed Highlanders head coach Peter de Jong says he is ready to kickstart his second marriage with the club after having parted ways for greener pastures 6 years ago. The Dutch coach believes the situation has changed as the side is caught up in the relegation web and called on his players to push in one direction.
6 years later now, total different situation. Because the club is not, of the team is not in a good position, is fighting for relegation. Was also say in 2019 was look like the same. Only now is the situation is worse. 9 games to go, separate Zimbabwe Cup. The opponent have a very good run. Every game is a final, and we need for every game we need to show spirit, discipline, focus, concentration, and the most important as a team had to work.
De Jong called on the Boso fan base to come in their numbers and rally behind the club as they try to find ways to navigate away from the drop zone.
It is not easy because you stay very low on the log and you stay where you stay. That is fighting for relegation. I run not away for that. We need to do together because we need a winning spirit to create, and that do you together, staff, players, the fans. I want to say to the fans, Highlands have the best fans in the country, or the most fans. We need in the home games, we need a full stadium, a full BF. And also in the away games we need a big support, and the most important is we do it together and let's game for game look, and most important is to go for it, and on the end we see where we finish.
Moving on with our sports news, Bikita Minerals head coach Wilson Mutekede is looking forward to their clash against Highlanders this weekend at Gibo. The Lithium boys are part of the teams in the relegation matrix, and Mutekede believes the level of competition in the league has increased and is confident that his side will collect maximum points as to increase their chances of survival.
Yeah, a very big game for us. We have always savored playing against the teams that are highly rated because this is the competition, this is the tire that we are in, and we can only measure our pedigree if we play against such teams. It is important also in that both of us, against us and the Highlanders, we are in the same category in terms of trying to push out of the relegation matrix. But we are ready, we are prepared well. I think we had a full week of preparations, and we are looking forward to that encounter. It's a really tight grouping. I think it's the only year where we have more than 10 teams in the relegation matrix. I think this brings a lot of excitement in the league. Those at the top and more than 10 teams fighting to survive. So it is very, very important because we all have equal chances of survival. So we are trying to make sure we really compete well.
Meanwhile, ahead of their clash against Scotland at Rufaro this Saturday, fourth-placed Herentals College have hiked gate prices. The cheapest ticket for the clash will be the student's ticket, which will be going for $2, whilst the rest of the ground has been pegged at $5, VIP $10 and VVIP $20. The match will be live on ZTN Prime. Here is a run-through of selected fixtures for this weekend. On Saturday, log leaders Zimbabwe welcome table anchors Kwekwe United. Till one date Chicken Inn, ZPC Kariba Lockhorns with Triangle United as FC Platinum entertained Caps United. Action continues on Sunday. Manika Diamonds welcome Moors live on ZTN. Dynamos host Green Fuel, whilst Pikita Minerals go up against Highlanders. That story concludes our news bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. My name is Francisca Msheche. We now leave you with the weather. Good evening.
Listen, gather around. Okay, I saw
Cublo Vibes.